Elizabeth.
No problem.
Ugh. Man,
Got it.
this game could use a lot less fucking combat in it.
Well, that's what I was.
do be opening locks.
I remembered what I was going to say, which is this game really struggles to not be a video game in the worst sense. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like it's got these growing pains where you've got those moments of Elizabeth playing a beautiful song, and the animators and the level designers and the artists and the storytellers all working together. But then it's like, okay, but then we have to go back to being a video game where it's just go, 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 shoot, shoot, shoot. And the worst thing is, like, it's not even the best version of go, 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 shoot, shoot, shoot we've ever had. Remember, System Shock was an irrational game that came out, God, almost 10 years, 15 years before this? And System Shock 2 had, like, decent storytelling combined with really interesting gameplay that did too much, maybe, but a lot. This is like Halo, Call of Duty, but bad.
I wouldn't say System Shock had like any kind of go combat though.
That's
Oh no,
clunky.
definitely not.
oh, it was clunky AF, but it was doing interesting things. This is just doing what Halo and Call of Duty do, but badly.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
the evidence locker is somewhere up here on the second floor. I don't know if we can get it now or if we have to go to the other dimension.
Can I say something? I'm actually still not over Moses' story.
Oh, thank you.
What a bad hang!
Yo,
What a bad environment.
as you get older, you realize that you have some stories in your arsenal that you'll never fucking forget. And that's one I'm gonna take to my fucking grave. And when I have a kid and I'm mad at them, I'm gonna be like, I hope I'm not watching Big Bang Theory at the comic book store you refuse to take care of when I'm old.
I'm starting to realize that I've never had, like, I say not like during this conversation, but like during this part of my life, that I've actually never had a good comic book store, game store experience in my life.
Oh no.
I mean, is there one?
I've told you my other really awful comic book store story, right?
I think you have, but go ahead again for posterity.
It's much quicker. So I was interested in some comic book. I can't even remember I think it's Wonder Woman. So I never read Wonder Woman. I always read Batman. So I was like, I talked to one of the guys working there, and I'm like, hey, I like some Wonder Woman. Like, what are some good ones to start off with? And he's like, oh, well, this is a good one to start off with. And he had it in both of his hands, and he like handed it to me, I thought. And so I went to grab it, but he wouldn't let go. And so I was like, oh, cool, I will definitely read this. And I kind of like tugged at it, and he just held it. And so I let him have it, and I walked away. I was so creeped out.
What a... Jesus!
Yeah. No, I don't fucking understand. And I don't know.
This is like... Alright, so this is not a funny story, this is just fucked up. But like... So I was a teenager, like, what is the last time I had, like, a local game store that I went to?
Are you fucking
Like-
kidding me?
Like, when I was in high school.
Elizabeth, a little help.
And I would just, like, go in there every so often to, like, play war games or whatever, and one time I asked my mom, like, hey, can we stop by there? I want to get some paints. And she said, yeah, I'll wait in the car. And I said, oh, why? And she's like, yeah, I don't know how to tell you this, but, like, the guy who runs that store is really creepy. And that just, like, fucked me up. Like, that my mom is just like, yeah, this guy's creepy.
We know before everybody else. Like, it's really important as a woman to be able to tell that shit. Like, it's survival. It really is.
Yeah, it's just like, but like it recontextualizes all my experiences coming to the store where, you know, she's just like dropping me off or whatever, and he's just like casually being a creeper to her, which is what was happening apparently.
Yep.
And like, not surprisingly, I don't know what's going on with that store these days. Haven't been back.
Yep.
I like that Elizabeth has a shadow and we don't.
Elizabeth also has limbs, and we obviously do not.
I got a hand. He's got one hand, just like that guy from Resident Evil.
One big hand attached to his chin.
Oh my god, it's Gordon Freeman.
He's got one tiny hand, which is just coming up off his chin, and holding a pistol, like, right up against his, like, orbital.
So this is where we learned that, I don't know if anybody can hear it, and I'm talking over it, but this is where we learned that Daisy Fitzroy didn't actually kill Lady Comstock, at least in this dimension.
Which is not surprising, because why would that be the thing that happened?
Who killed her? Who did
I
it?
think he did.
Did he, or did she just die in childbirth or something?
I have a vague recollection that, like, she didn't want him doing something with Elizabeth, so he took her out of the picture. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up.
I think I remember that.
Look it up. This cannot be an unsolved mystery.
I looked it up. Comstock had her killed.
Oh, okay.
Because she was
Who
going
gives a shit?
to blab about Elizabeth.
Very good detective work. It seems that the killer was one of Comstock's henchmen. Who gives a shit, though?
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go
Like
with
I
apple
give
pie.
a shit.
Rutsguard, you brought up a thing earlier about how, like, was this thing just sort of a leftover from some other thing and they didn't have anywhere else to put it?
Yeah.
This is another
When
scene
I
that
like
feels
to
that
rank your feed. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I just bring it up because this is the same thing we just had happen when Mr. Lin died, and we were like, oh no, we're going to make a portal and jump to another dimension. It happens here again, and once again, Elizabeth is like, I don't know if we can come back ever again. This is a pretty big deal, and we just did it once. So it feels like this was a second take or a second script rewrite that this was the moment, but then they put both in the game.
Look, y'all, it is vitally important that we do not fail this fetch quest that we have failed multiple times and has no reward waiting for us because the NPC who gave it to us doesn't remember giving it to us because they didn't.
If we screw up this time, we'll have to go to another dimension where we didn't screw up.
What's the rule? There is no rules. Who knows how time travel works? Who gives a shit?
It's Outback Steakhouse up in here.
And, like, that would be okay, but the game actively invites you to question how this works and explore the specifics of time travel. Oh, yeah, and the Vox all have weapons that are exactly like the Colombian weapons, but different.
You know what?
So that you can upgrade these, too.
Chris is exactly right. It's Outback Steakhouse approach, and just like the Outback Steakhouse, the steaks are really confusing and disappointing.
Oh, God.
So sad.
I meant that
Doesn't
there's
have to
no
be that
rule.
way.
So, is this like, did she write this graffiti and then got shot by like 1,000 shotgun shells as a result? Is that what this environmental storytelling is telling the story of?
No, she got shot first and then wrote it in blood, clearly.
Yeah, she was still alive.
Oh.
You get shot by a shotgun and you can still fucking hang for a while.
I do like how the shotgun shells are kind of all over the room and very close to her, though, as though it was like one bunny hopping guy, like crouch jump bunny hopping dude with like a pancor. It kind of like speaks to the lack of restraint in environmental design in this game.
Squirrels running through the trees. They know what's coming. But the fat bears with their bellies full of honey, well, you can't.
Daisy's moved these people. Things can change, but
Things can change. We went to a new fucking universe where things were already different.
Hey, let's just jump around till racism's not here. Let's just jump around till there's no racism. Elizabeth, you got a couple more in you?
Yeah.
Do we need to find the special spot, like, portal to the no racism land? Because we can do
What's
that.
this Bioshock mine doing here?
I love that it is a water mine in the midst of a space city.
See,
Got it from Battleship Bay or whatever it was.
I mean, it is possible they just got it from Bioshock because they do.
Hello.
You know, that's a thing later.
that guy's really gung-ho. So there's a twist coming here where the revolution is bad, actually. But it's not much of a twist because they don't manage to convey any sense of triumph, liberation, or like upswell during this whole section. Nothing about this feels like the end. Like, oh, good, we're taking down the evil empire.
And this is, I mean, this is the point where you realize that they're both siding the whole thing. They're like, both sides, everybody.
I mean, they weren't making it particularly mysterious, even with the start.
No,
of
but this is
Shantytown.
like,
oh
this
shit!
is
Whoops,
like
that was a Vox guy.
Yeah.
You're gonna be fucking them anyway. I thought at the end of this you have to just start shooting everybody, just willy nilly.
You do.
If I remember correctly.
Yes.
So what? Spoilers for the next 5 minutes, but what we're going to discover is that in this dimension, Booker DeWitt arrived and teamed up with Fitzroy and became the hero of Columbia, and then died.
Fuck.
And so you're a martyr. But then Daisy Fitzroy saw that version of you die and doesn't believe that the you that's you is really you. So
Which in fairness,
she
you're
thinks
not.
yeah. But you have his memories.
Yeah, but you also are not like. Wait, does that mean that you're? Oh man, I just remembered the film Looper. Have you guys seen the film Looper?
Oh Jesus Christ!
Does it explain how time travel works?
That's funny. It actually doesn't.
Oh, okay. Did you feel like gratified by that? Did that feel okay?
You know, I actually didn't like Looper very much.
I fucking hated Looper, but I love that scene. That scene made me laugh so fucking hard. Is it Bruce Willis who plays older?
Yes.
What's his? See, it's Bruce Willis giving that line. It's funny.
If there's any performance that Bruce Willis can nail in the 21st century, it's not really giving a shit.
So not to interrupt Looper discourse, but so we're about to go up an elevator where Booker says like Fitzroy and Comstock deserve each other or whatever, and it's because of this scene where we just see Daisy Fitzroy cheering her troops on, and even though we just saw a racist dystopia, she appeared on the side of a blimp too. Therefore, she's
crash an airship.
I know that like we're supposed to think about this in a very allegorical sense, but like, and also that like they're supposed to be bad and stupid. But the weird thing is like, you don't burn down a city that you're about to occupy. You
especially if it's a
occupy
floating
it.
city.
Yeah, like what are they gonna do? Just like sit around on the burnt rocks? I guess maybe they're gonna burn it down and then leave. Is that the idea? I mean, I don't know where they're planning to go because it's still racism times.
Well, it burned down Finkton. I don't think they intend to burn down everything.
Yeah, but Finkton is the center of industry.
I mean, yeah, but like,
they need
so
that
going back
because
to
they
your
live in
Haitian
a floating
Revolution.
city.
Well, going back to your Haitian Revolution example, I mean, like, one of the first things that the slaves did when they started the slave revolt in Saint-Domingue, modern Haiti, was burn down all the plantations.
Well, that makes sense in a way, I guess, because like the plantation structures are not like the fertility of the land itself. This is kind of the equivalent of like if they then bombed the entire island until it was nothing but like rocks and mud.
So
I mean, you know, 15 years of war ended up kind of doing that.
I'm curious whether we could have done the "Will the Circle Be Unbroken" bit after the dimension jump, and I don't know if you can or not. But what? What's so funny?
That's just a funny image.
Well, I'm wondering if
supposed to
it
go
was
this way,
done
right?
intentionally, because, I mean, I don't know if you saw those pieces on The Last of Us 2 and its themes of cycles of violence and how they're inescapable, but it sort of ties this game to those themes in a way, in the sense that it's... You come into this area with Comstock being the asshole, you leave with Daisy being the asshole, and the whole song's about "Will the Circle Be Unbroken," which is not what the song's actually about, but
It's really
by
not
association...
We just have the line from Booker. The only difference between Comstock and Fitzroy is how you spell the name. Like, that's... How is that the case?
Because, Rutskarn, people fighting for freedom and rights are bad. Right? Obviously.
What if they use those rights to be mean?
Yeah. You know,
Like...
there was never any point in American history where a bunch of people came together and said, hey, we want rights and stuff, and then launched a war over it, and then turned out those rights were only for actually rich people anyway, so...
Press to lunge at enemies, delivering
Okay, I know how this works. Alright.
Rockets, watch out!
Just run. Just run to the end. You don't fight this. You don't have to fight this fight. Just run to the end.
Sure thing!
I may be in trouble on that front.
It's like, you kind of just want to ask, like, Ken Levine, like, so what was your opinion on the slave revolts that happened in the United States? Like, what was your opinion on, like, the West Virginian miners that, like, risked their lives striking against their, like, rich northern masters? Like, what is your opinion on all of these times that people have stood up and attempted to secure their rights and safety and freedom and, like, been killed for it? Do you think that if they had won, they would have then become the bad guy? Or is it just your OC, don't steal Daisy Fitzroy, who becomes the bad guy?
Well, it's the worst part is, like, they're clearly not unaware of things like the labor movement in the late 19th, early 20th century that led to, like, straight up fucking battles between labor activists and, you know, Pinkertons and agents of robber baron rich capitalism.
Yeah, and it's just so easy to look back on that now and say, you know, actually with the benefit of hindsight, there probably was a good guy and a bad guy. That time that, like, a bunch of people said, can we have higher wages? And the person paying the wages said, no, and also I'm going to fucking kill you.
Well, yeah, but, like, they're obviously aware of that, and they're still going with this bullshit both sides thing. Like, it's not a matter of just some, you know, upper-class, rich, white dude and his team of upper-class, white dudes writing this story. Like, they have read about the history of it. We go this way, right?
You do, but you have to see the dead bodies first, the Mr. and Mrs. Lynn.
Oh, do we have to go back into the gunsmith?
No, they're there on the floor.
Oh, no, okay.
And, you know, to an extent, they could probably even get away with some of these kind of, like, with some allegorical story of, like, a battle for freedom resulting in, like, a different kind of tyranny and horror, if they hadn't grounded that in the explicit language and iconography of the actual civil rights movement and struggles.
Right.
You know what's a little sad?
That just makes it so wild.
What's a little sad is, like, Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry did a better job of this, where, like, you're playing as Adewale and you're going over all of Haiti, freeing slaves with by force, and the counter argument to that you get from other people, people in Haiti is like, look, it's great that you're freeing people. That's great. You're not solving the system of slavery. You're freeing 5 people at the expense of a lot of lives, but that doesn't stop the system from being perpetuated. And at least that's an interesting criticism. This comes from a place where they did violence to you, now you're doing violence to them, and that's just as bad. It's that cycles of violence thing, right? Like, that seems to be the driving idea here. Because it makes no attempt to morally equivocate or it does morally equivocate, I guess, the mountain of systemic racism and oppression going on in Colombia with the violence that they're enacting against their oppressors. They are equally bad. And that's really where the game kind of is offensive.
Like, the argument, like, if you're listening to the evil propaganda she's speaking, which is, like, being, like, her propaganda is supposed to, at this point, like, draw direct comparisons to Comstock. Comstock was basically saying some people are just worse, and we should build our whole society around that idea so that we, the people who are not worse, can live comfortable, happy lives. And Daisy's saying they will oppress you and enslave you, and Daisy's correct, because that's what's already happening. It's like she's not making any wild claims. She's just kind of observing the thing that was actually going. Wow,
it's a monster closet. You have to go. You have to go kill that plane using the sky hook.
Oh.
It's a set piece. Yeah.
Wait, no, that's the. Oh no, that is.
No,
the
you
enemy airship.
you have to go into the airship and blow it up. It's
Take
stupid.
out the Zeppelin. Is that what
That's
we're calling them
cool.
now?
That's cool though. Like, this is neat. This is a really interesting set piece. This is the sort of thing we should be doing more of.
Yeah.
Mumbles, this is neat.
I don't know.
Are you okay?
The whole like both sides thing just depressed me. That's why I stopped talking. It's just depressing. It's just depressing. It's invalidating people's experiences.
Like I don't get how so many. Well, no, I do understand. It's just I wish that I didn't. How so many, games
It's
journalists
such a fact.
came out of this going, this is the best game of all time. This is the point where Roger Ebert got proven wrong about games not being art.
In fairness,
Right as
that
he
was
died.
Clippy B. That was not a game
Yeah,
journalist.
yeah.
I'm out.
Oh.
Speaking of Roger Ebert, I would love to see a comparison, which is dumber, this game or Crash, in terms of the respective genres and being lauded for talking about big important topics.
Go back, Josh. You have to cut the engine in the back of the ship there.
Because Roger Ebert gave Crash 4 stars, and that was not one of his finer reviews.
Oh my god. Guys, this is just a Tony Hawk level. Look at all the ramps and the smooth things you can skate down. This would be the coolest Tony Hawk level ever!
Have they made a first-person shooter with a good skateboard in it?
I don't think so.
Trick question. The answer
like-
is Lego Island.
Oh!
Get off of here.
You have to look down at the things. Yeah, you'll eventually be able to line your view up. Or if you wait too long, you'll just die, and then Elizabeth will revive you inside.
I don't see here we go. Oh shit. God damn it. Whoops, sorry.
Josh also believes that both sides can catch these hands. The one I'm on and the one I'm not on.